I really have the talent, the dedication, the charisma, and the professionalism to create a successful YouTube channel? Now, this question I find very curious. You see, back in 2016, I started this channel. I did it because I was creatively stifled in the work that I was doing. I found that I was doing things that were expected of me for the client work I was doing, and I just needed some outlet to have control and just to be creative and just see where it took me. And I tell you something, I really loved it. I created something like 130 videos on a daily vlog talking about entrepreneurship, talking about my journey with that, and I really, really enjoyed it. But something happened, I kind of fell out of it. The birth of my second child was a significant toll at doing that, and then I took a break and never got back to it. But now I've got this question. Is it possible for me to find a technique that works with my lifestyle, that aligns with the things that I want this channel to be about, that can gradually grow one subscriber at a time to hit 1,000 subscribers? At the time of making this video, I'm at 353 subscribers, and that was a slog to get that far. I worked very hard. I had a couple of videos which kind of hit a wave in the tech space, but I realized that's not the kind of content I want to be producing. So I thought, if I was to do a comeback and do this experiment with YouTube, what would it be? So I've thought about what is it the talents that I think I can bring to YouTube. And I've broken this down. I've got some notes here. I've broken it down. If I want to talk about what I want my channel to have come through, it's definitely the following 5 things. Firstly, I am a true believer and an optimist. In other words, I like to find ways that things can be done rather than finding ways why they can't be done. Especially in the tech world, this is why I love entrepreneurship. I love the idea of taking a challenge and then figuring out how it can be possible. I find really exciting. So when I'm with other people, I want to help them overcome those challenges and push forward. And I think that's kind of a good trait to have when producing content on YouTube. Secondly, I'm actually quite a good listener. At least I self-confess as a good listener. And the reason I say that is I like to listen. I like to try and understand what people are really saying, even if they aren't saying it. It's something I find really fascinating. I've been reading books on this kind of the psychology side of things, and it's really interesting because in doing that, I find I can help other people overcome certain, maybe small challenges that's holding them back. And if I can help there, then that's a great thing. I can just keep pushing them forward. One thing I take pride on is that I'm continually trying to open my mindset more, looking at things from other people's perspectives, knowing that I'm not always right and other people aren't always wrong. I think that's really fascinating. I may not be the best right now, but I'm certainly working towards it. And I think a lot of that comes from listening and just absorbing what's really there before jumping in with a conclusion. And I think that's a good thing that I want to put out onto the YouTube channel so that I can really have a pragmatic and more honest kind of approach to answering the things that people want answered. Now, the third thing is I adore entrepreneurship. It's my baby. It's who I am. Now, I'm not one of these risk-taker entrepreneurs. I'm more of a visionary entrepreneur. I like having big, grand ideas and saying, I've got a lifetime to succeed on this, so I can play the long game. So I'm building my own startup, and I want to share some of that journey with you, and I want to basically help anyone who's in this kind of entrepreneurial mindset and keep their momentum going along the right direction and just keep pushing forward. I like to bring ideas to the table, make people think more creatively and more ambitious about what they're doing. And that's definitely the entrepreneur in me that's kind of achieving that. Now, number 4 is I'm accelerating my own self-awareness and my own personal development. This is something that's kind of happened probably more in the last 6 months. I've really hit a kind of a turning point at how I've been absorbing this kind of self-development way. Now, I've been listening to audiobooks for the last probably 4 years. I do it in my commute, and that has been absolutely revolutionary in terms of how I increase my skill set, increase my understanding, be able to look at things in a more pragmatic way, understand how other people kind of respond in certain situations. But in the last 6 months, I've kind of changed away from maybe the entrepreneurship and tech space and more looking at the inner self and actually understanding who I am and how to perceive the world around me for me. And the weird thing is, right now, comparing, say, 6 months ago, I actually feel a lot happier. And I think that's the work of this development that I've been doing. And I certainly want to share that through this YouTube channel, because when you have access to that kind of mindset and information, things just feel a little more calmer, a little more in control. And in doing so, you get to basically achieve way more with what you've got, rather than pushing hard at trying to get something you haven't got. And I definitely feel that's an asset to bring to YouTube. And number 5, I believe in doing things right and doing things honestly. There's a book I've read recently talks about there are 2 kinds of people. There are decent people and there are indecent people. And in every group of people, you have both. So you may have people who are well respected, and within there you'll have decent people and indecent people. And then you may have people who may not have a lot, and in there you'll have decent people and indecent people. And I subscribe to being decent. I subscribe to being a human being and seeing all my peers as fellow human beings, and that I certainly want to be portrayed in who I am and what I put out there. Basically, do the right thing. I take pride in doing the right thing. It forms how I see myself and who I am, and that's an asset that I never want to leave at all in my lifetime here on Earth. So those are 5 things that I feel I've got of real value to bring to YouTube. But I'm not new. This isn't a brand new channel. I've been doing this for a couple of years, and there's this thing called imposter syndrome, and I need to address this, because for all that I can say about being fearless and having courage and how to handle fear. I've done videos in the past, how to handle fear. Treat it as an experiment, because you have a hypothesis, and a failure doesn't mean a failure. It just means learning. All of that is great. But even I have this thing called imposter syndrome when it comes to YouTube. And let me boil it down. Let me be honest. The thing that I fear most is being a charlatan in terms of a mentor or an entrepreneur or a startup CEO. In other words, I'm not like the CEO of Twitter or Facebook or any of these kind of Silicon Valley unicorns. No, of course I'm not. But I'm on a journey to create something that's of immense value. I'm on a journey to create legacy in the work that I do. And I want to portray my mindset of how I'm going to achieve that. But this is where the fear comes in. I say I'm going to achieve that. I wish I could come from a point of retrospect and share that with you, so that you have real, concrete, tried and tested methods that you can implement. But I don't have that luxury. But what I do have is a continual understanding of how I'm moving in terms of my personal development, how I'm approaching the challenges I have. And I feel I can share that. I think there's insight, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if I succeed or fail. The only thing that matters is that I'm happy in the journey that I'm doing. That if you ask me at any point of time in this journey, I can truly say that I was happy at that state. I didn't need to be at the end goal. I was happy being at the foot of the mountain. I was happy being a third of the way up. And if I can achieve that and share that with you, I think that is of immense value. So this is how I'm going to address my biggest fear, the imposter syndrome, being a charlatan. It is what it is. But what I hope you take away is this inspiration and comfort of being happy with what you've got, and that you have a plan of how to move forward. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. But let's talk about the channel itself. What is the channel about? So first, I want to address why I want to be a YouTuber. Now, there's this idea of celebrity. The YouTubers I were following before picking up the camera and actually doing it was primarily YouTubers like Casey Neistat, He's very popular in the vlogging scene. People love to reflect on his style in their videos. I'm not going to try and do anything like that. I've done videos in the past where I wanted to share my day and maybe take some kind of tactical inspiration, but I don't want to be a vlogger anymore. I want to be someone who's thought-provoking and genuinely helpful. Just be more tactical. So when I think of that, I need to understand who my channel is for. Who is it that I'm going to target? And I have this thing that if you go for mass appeal, you've got to fall more in the entertainment space. If you go for the niche appeal, you can be much more focused and get more value out of that. So for me, I'm going to say my channel is targeted to creative entrepreneurs. These are people who may be entrepreneurs building tech startups. So you may be a developer doing it, or you may be working with developers. You may be someone who's creative in terms of the visual creative, video, graphic design, web design, all these kind of things. So that's great. So we've got a creative entrepreneur as the target audience. And I'm not going to say that if you're not a creative entrepreneur, you'll find nothing of value. That is certainly not the case. You'll find a lot of value. But I need to focus down exactly who I want to be targeting, because it makes life easier to produce content that I'm truly happy with, to be able to say that the audience I'm producing content for is an audience who allows me to be me and create the content I want to create. I want to share how you can have a combination of relentless ambition combined with inner happiness. And I actually feel these are very competing things when it comes to entrepreneurship. One side you've got hustle, 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 make the most of everything. And the other side you've got be happy, have a stoic kind of philosophy of life and slow down, want for nothing, that kind of thing. I'm subscribing to the smack bang in the middle. I want to be ambitious, and I'm going to be going for it. But at the same time, I'm not going to compromise happiness and inner peace, and be able to switch my mind off and just live for the moment, because I've been enjoying that lately in myself, kind of in my personal development. So the person who's going to want to view the content from this channel will either have these kind of big ambitions that they want to do, and they want to unlock that, or they want to find a balance between not living the rat race but actually finding that happiness and getting the most out of the days that they have, not wishing or waiting for the days that they don't have. And if you want both, then this is definitely going to be the journey that I hope that you'll want to join. So that's who the channel is for, those creative entrepreneurs. Now, in a way, there are some people who I follow. Gary Vaynerchuk has been a significant kind of inspiration at the hustle side of things. And Tim Ferriss, I've not followed a lot of his content, but he's certainly got the inner happiness down. And I want to combine the two. And the traits that I want to pull out from both of those is this unbounded ambition for getting the most out of life and achieving the goals that you want, and using a lifetime to do it. So patience, having real patience, but combine that with the self-awareness and being able to just be having that inner calm, to have the happiness, to understand the motivations that you need to be working towards, how to set the goals and how to achieve them over the long term. I want to aspire to kind of being that person who's ready to go 100 miles an hour and slam the brakes on and just enjoy the scenery. That I find really appealing. So I'm going to be testing a new format for the YouTube channel. It won't be daily. There's no way I could do that. I am building a startup. I am doing my work. I don't want to oversubscribe my time on this. I want to have a consistent format like this, where we get into a thought process of being able to just think and inspire and comprehend. I liken it to listen to an audiobook, where you can just absorb the content and you feel enriched. You feel enriched as you come out of it. That's what I want to achieve. Some of the content may be quite tactical. Some of it might be quite idealistical, some of it might be retrospective, some of it might be just sharing what I've learned and what I've experienced. And I think that's a really good place that I want to be in with the YouTube channel. I want to keep it simple, keep it consistent, but most importantly, be who I am. Not subscribe to producing content that other people want to see that I don't want to make. And I think that's a trap that it's easy to fall into when it comes to YouTube. I want to get to 1,000 subscribers, not because I take any value in that number. It's because I want to test whether I can apply these techniques and achieve an outcome, a goal. In other words, poke the universe and see what happens. So thank you very much. Hit that subscribe button because it'd be really awesome for you to count as one to my 1,000 goal. But most importantly, I want you to get something out of this. At the end of the day, I can produce content for me. That's fine. I put it on YouTube because I want to produce it for you. I want to help. I want to be a mentor in whatever shape I can. I want to be true to myself. And I think this is going to be a fun journey. So thank you very much, and I'll catch you in the next video.